Hello you guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. For today's video, I'm like excited but kind of nervous, not gonna lie. I decided I wanted to do a Q&A. So a couple weeks ago, I posted on my Instagram story, I had a box and I said, ask me some questions so I could answer them on a YouTube video, and I did. And because I've been branching into my religion on Instagram, I've been talking about how like I found God in my faith and just me being like a new Christian. So I got a lot of questions of that, which I will be talking about a little bit on here. I'll probably end up talking about it quite a bit actually, but there were some really good questions. There were so many and I want to answer so many, but I feel like I have 10 that I feel like over 10 is a little too much because I have some big explanations for some of them. So I'll be answering probably 10. If it gets too long, I might just answer like 8. But I have decided I still want to answer a few of them on my Instagram story, maybe like today or tomorrow or sometime this weekend. So if I don't answer the questions on here, chances are I may also answer them on my Instagram story. So just keep an eye out on that. I don't want to blabber too much in the intro because I'll be talking a lot throughout the video. So I'm going to get right to it. So obviously I get a lot of questions like, how old are you? Where are you from? Age, all that kind of stuff. And I also have a lot of new faces on my Instagram page. So there's people who don't know the basics. I'm just going to reintroduce myself in case you're new faces to my channel and you want to just get to know me a little bit more. So my name is Janelle. I am 22 years old. I'm a personal trainer and I am from Manitoba, Canada. You probably haven't heard of Manitoba because it's kind of out in the boonies and no one really knows about it here. And if you do know about it, you probably just know that it is so cold, like minus 58 Fahrenheit for my American people that don't know Celsius, and it gets like minus 50 Celsius here. So it is so cold. It's flat here, there's nothing crazy, and it's not the most beautiful place in Canada, that's for sure. I am a power lifter, so I'm competing on Team Canada, and I weigh 145-ish pounds. A lot of people ask that question, and I am 5'3". So those are kind of just the basics that people ask often, which is why I wanted to start off with that. So moving on to the next question. There's some deep questions here, guys. This is like really solid. Like I get most of the time, like a lot of times I ask, I'll be like, hey, ask me some questions. And it's like super basic, like goofy questions. And I'm just like, oh my. But yeah, I had some really good questions here. Starting off with, what do you think helped you build the most muscle? So I was a gymnast my whole life, first of all. So I had the fundamentals. I started off, lifting, like just doing body weight exercises very young. I started doing pull-ups when I was like 7. So I was very strong younger, and I feel like my muscles are very matured because they're always being worked. So when I started introducing weights, when I started lifting like actual heavy weights, I think that because my muscles already knew how to move properly and how to engage, it was easy to focus on, like, have that muscle mind connection, because in gymnastics you're told squeeze your glutes, squeeze your stomach, round this, round that, flatten this. So you're really like self-aware and aware of like your muscles, and you have the basics down so easily because it's pretty much like calisthenics, right? So you do all these body weight exercises and you do them perfectly, so that way the basics are there completely, the fundamentals are there. And when I started adding weights to my workouts, it was like a lot easier for me to get. My form was good, my technique was good. And then my muscles were mature enough to be able to just like respond to the stimulus very well. Other than that, I had good nutrition and I was a really hard worker. I started working out in 2019. Like all the way through 2019, I trained as a gymnast in the gym when I stopped doing gymnastics. So it wasn't like beneficial for gaining weight. And as a gymnast, I was like very upper body dominant. And I still am, like I have a big upper body, but I kind of managed to proportion myself a little bit better because that was my main goal, like grow my lower body. So I did do that, but by the end of 2019, that's when I got better at actually, focusing on proportion and weightlifting properly, not just like body weight, cardio, plyo, all that kind of stuff like I did in gymnastics. So yeah, like I said, I was always a really hard worker. Gymnastics, I always wanted to be the hardest worker, not to like be better than others, but because I found that when you work so hard consistently, that's when it pays off. And I had a lot of catching up to do in gymnastics because I was really underrated, and I like went home, trained all the time, worked really hard, took corrections. So I did all the work because I wanted to, you know, make it up there. And it really did pay off. So going into the gym, working out, I worked so hard. And people, like, when you say going to failure, like, I went to failure and beyond. I dug deep. Like, I find that whenever you are in tune with your mental strength, you're able to go to failure and then like push through an extra like 3 reps, and you lose it. I can't even explain it. It's so hard and like mentally challenging. But I went to the gym every single day, worked my butt off. Like, I was always sore. And I'm not saying you always have to be sore, but I always went in with the intent to leave the gym working the hardest I've ever worked. Not saying I'm the only hard worker, but I was always the hardest worker. And I like wanted to feel like I left the gym and I was not able to push more. My CNS was fried almost after every workout. And I took my rest days, so it's not like it was overworking me to the point that it was like ruining my gains, because that does happen if you're overworking yourself. It is ruining your gains. But I had the proper nutrition. I had proper protein. I lifted consistently. I pushed so hard and then dug deep above that. So I think that is really what helped me build muscle. And people like, obviously a part of it is genetic. I 100% agree, but that cannot be the complete reason why I am the way I am physique wise. Like, I worked my butt off, and you didn't even see the whole back end stuff in the gym. So yeah, I think the hard work out of everything is what's gonna make you go the furthest, is what's gonna make you stand out the most. But obviously you need like the breakdown parts of everything, like your nutrition, your protein, water, sleep, rest, all that kind of stuff. Okay, next question. How did you find God? This video, like, I feel like I need to make a separate video for this specific topic, just because it goes back like years into my past. And then it's like, there's a lot of breakdown pieces that kind of led me to where I am. So I feel like I should make a full, complete other video about this topic, which I will do. But just in short, I could kind of talk about it very quickly. So this was, when was this? The end of 2021, I changed gyms. This was like shortly after COVID, when gyms started opening up again. I started going to a gym because I worked out in my home gym just because gyms were closed. So when gyms opened up, I wanted more weights. So I went into a new gym in like a town near me. And I ran into a couple brothers that were like super awesome, like gym rats, and they're like really, really nice guys. So I started being friends with them, and they were religious and Christian, and they grew up knowing God their entire life. Starting off, they never talked about it. I just got to know them on like, you know, like a personal, not too personal, but like just got to know them as people in the gym. So we became friends, and I realized that the way they were raised caused them to have, you know, like, they obviously, like, everyone has their own struggles, but nothing compared to like what I had. And I'm not saying that to degrade whatever like issues they've had in their life, like, but it did not compare to the struggles I had when it came to like my own like trauma and depression, mental health illnesses, like anxiety, sleeping problems, relationship problems, family problems. Like, I had the list that went on and on and on and on and on and on and on. I realized that they didn't have all these issues that they had to carry with them forever. And for me, I was atheist my whole life. So it was really interesting, because I was like, okay, well, if this is like so, if God doesn't exist, then why are they so much more ahead when it comes to peace and happiness than I am? Why aren't they struggling? Why are they so healthy, like mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, everything? Like, why are they so more ahead of me with every part of their life, and I'm the one struggling? And then I thought, and I was like, if I want kids, I don't want my kids to ever go through the pain I went through. I want to be like the best parent, and in order to do that, I need to have like a good partner, and I need to have morals and everything like that. So just knowing those people, like, it opened me up to a different perspective when it came to religion. I didn't see it as like control and like crazy separations with people all around the world and like a billion different religions. Like I saw it as, okay, these people are like really happy and healthy and so loving and caring. And I want that for my family and for myself and for my kids in the future. So I was interested in, getting to know like the religion and just to learn and stuff like that. So over a year ago, it was May 2022, that's when I started kind of going to church, started reading the Bible, doing research, all that kind of stuff, talking, having conversations. And for me, I was reading the Bible not consistently, probably once every like few days, like once or twice a week, but then I'd go like 2 weeks without. And I would pray, but I didn't know how to pray. So it was like I prayed and I just like asked for things. And it was insincere because I didn't even believe in God yet. And when I would read the Bible, I didn't even understand because God wasn't in my heart, so I couldn't understand scripture. So I was kind of just reading it and just like not holding on to anything. All I really held on to is that Jesus like healed people, fed people, that kind of stuff. Nothing else I understood. And I went through phases where it's like I really, really, really wanted to believe. I just physically, like you can't say, oh, I believe and you believe. It doesn't work like that. Like you have to believe in your heart, and I didn't have that. So for an entire year, I loved going to church. Church was awesome. It was my favorite part of the religion. I thought it was so awesome. I got excited every single weekend. So I honestly think that is like one of the only things that held me there, was how much I loved church. And that felt like the opening into me actually like trying to understand religion. And other than that, if I didn't like church, I would have been gone so quick. But that held me there. And for a whole year, I tried so hard to believe. And I went on and off with reading, never understood, honestly. Tried praying, but I didn't do it very well. And I pretty much just asked for things. But a whole year, like I can't even believe I went a whole year not believing in God and still like trying to understand it, just because I wanted peace so badly. I was so desperate for peace. And after coming home from Texas, this is when it started. I was so messed up mentally. I was having like, I think Texas was more of a distraction for me. So it kept me really busy. I met cool people. It was fun, but like that distracted me from, mental health issues. It didn't cure them. So when I came home and I had that no distraction, I was alone all the time. I was messed up mentally. Like I was really struggling, and I was so desperate for peace. And there was this one night that I thought, and I was like, even if like hell is 1% true, the fact that like I have depression so badly on this earth, and my anxiety is so bad, and I can't be happy, and I'm numb, and I'm like, I can't live like this for the rest of my life. Like there's no way I could do this. I physically can't be depressed for the rest of my life, whether that be 30 years, 50 years. I can't do that. Like I can't live till I'm 80 just so depressed, but I don't know how to change myself. And that freaked me out, and something clicked in my head that made me panic like crazy. And it was a thought of, okay, if my depression on this earth is so bad to the point I can't even think of living the rest of my life like this, imagine what eternity in hell would be, where depression is a infinity amount of times worse, and you're living that way for eternal. Like there's no happy moments there. There's no, you get to see your family, or there's no distractions. There's no jokes and smiles and like happy moments, happy days. Like it's constant depression forever, for the rest of eternity. And it's a million times, like infinity amount times worse than the depression I have on this earth. And that freaked me out, and that messed me up so much. And I thought, and I was like, even if that is 1% possible that there is a hell, there's no way I can even risk going there, knowing how bad my depression is on this earth. Like that, literally that 0.1% is what switched everything for me. And before that, like I didn't believe in God. I wanted to, but I couldn't, because I didn't grow up believing. And you believe anything as a child, but like when you're an adult and you form your own opinions and perspectives of this world, and you have an ego and you're proud, like you believe what you want to believe, and that's it. And it was so hard for me. But when I thought like, holy smokes, even if it's 0.1% true that there is a heaven and a hell, and I make it to hell, and I have to live a depression infinity amount times worse is the one I'm living on this earth, and I'm living that for eternity without friends, without family, without my niece and nephews to make me smile every day. Like, I cannot even process that, and that freaked me out. And I had a huge panic attack. I was crying. I was having, like, I couldn't breathe. I was literally rolling in bed. Like, I couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't even react properly. I couldn't contain myself. Like, I was like literally like flailing in my bed, just freaking out. And that is when I just like spoke to God, and I was just crying. I was like, obviously I didn't say it calm like this because I was panicking, but I was just like, please help me. Like, if you're here, if you're real, like, you got to show me, like, I can't do this. I can't be depressed forever. Fix me. Like, help me, help me, help me. And in that moment, instant peace, like, no joke. My body went from like complete distress to like instant peace. And I just stopped crying. I just laid there, and then I just like fell asleep like that. And it was just so crazy. And then I woke up the next morning as a believer. And it's still hard for me to process that. And there's a lot more to the story, which I want to make a different video about it just to kind of explain that. But that is actually what helped me find God. It was like the fear of living in depression forever, like, but way, way worse than I was living now. And I had depression for like 3 years, and it would be way worse than that. And that just scared me so much. And I was so desperate for peace and happiness. Like, my soul was on fire. Like, I couldn't do it. And I had to find like my absolute rock bottom in order to go up from there. And I think that I was too proud that God couldn't even come to me. And he's tried, like, I had a dream months ago, which I'll talk about in the next video, but he tried like reaching out to me, and I know he did. And I was so proud, and I wanted to do things on this earth that are not at all like biblical. And I'm still working on that, but there's things I wanted to do that didn't line up with religion, which is partly why I pushed religion away, I think, just subconsciously. But yeah, like, my pride was so high, my ego was way up there, to a point where like God couldn't even reach out to me because I would just shut him out because it didn't line up with what I wanted. So once I was at rock bottom, and I was so desperate, and I was at the point where I couldn't help myself anymore. I was way out of my depth. Like, I didn't have the power or the strength or the wisdom or anything like that. Like, this was completely out of my control. It was way above my level. Like, I was helpless now. Like, I couldn't do this stuff anymore. I went to a point where I could depend on myself, and that, like, I hit rock bottom. I couldn't depend on myself no more. Like, I was struggling, and I needed an exterior help other than myself. So that's when I just, like, literally, I had nothing to lose, and I just had to ask God to help me because I couldn't do it on my own. So that is how I found God. I will make another video, like I said, going more in detail with everything, how the whole process happened, because honestly, I think it's the craziest thing ever, how I went from an like complete unbeliever, thinking the whole religion was stupid, like literally like blasphemy, just hating everything, thinking it's the dumbest thing ever, like thinking people are brainwashed for believing in God, to being a believer in literally one night. Like, it just blows my mind. And this question kind of went into another question. Thoughts on being a Christian and listening to non-Christian music. And then he said, I do it, not judging. So I appreciate that. This is like a really good question. So I think as a Christian, listening to like all this rap with swears and, you know, all these sexual sayings and like whatever, all that messed up stuff, I don't think you should be doing it straight up. I do it, not gonna lie, I've gotten a lot better. I listen to a lot of Christian music now and just like worship music, and I honestly love it. Like, they're not all like churchy, like some are actually like really, really good and fun to listen to and just sound like normal songs, and I feel like so good. And I'll be in the car like literally bawling my eyes out like most nights. Like, it's actually crazy, but I feel so good doing that. But then there's some days where I just like at the gym, I just want to, you know, listen to my favorite rap songs, and like, I'm not even lying. I mean, straight up, I do it too. I've gotten a lot better, but I'm not perfect, and that's something I'm working on. And eventually I want to pull completely away from it, but that's just like a bond that I'm working on breaking. So I think that over time, as you are growing in religion and you're getting closer to God and you're actively working on it, I think that it will kind of eat away at your soul and your conscience, and you're going to feel guilty, you're gonna feel not at peace, just uneasy, and then eventually you're gonna be at a point where you just pull away. And I think that people who are still listening to it, like, I'm not judging at all, I do it. It's something I'm working on. I think it's really hard to pull away from certain bonds, but if you're not actively praying, if you're not actively learning about the religion, reading scripture, then it's hard to kind of change certain habits that you have, because there's nothing that's actually pulling you away from those habits. And yeah, we're not strong. We're really weak, actually, and we have to depend on a higher power to help us pull away from those bonds. But I think that over time, as you grow as a Christian, you're going to be able to stop doing certain things that you shouldn't be doing. And for myself, I'm working on that. Even with my social media, I post a lot of things. I say a lot of things. I post certain musics. And there's things that I'm really working hard on. And it's just so hard. And some days I'll be like, I feel so good. Like, I'm doing so good with this. And then some days it's kind of a setback. And I'm like, oh, I just posted that. And it's something I'm working on. And I'm not perfect. I'm a learning Christian. And honestly, like, I'm glad I'm not at my peak, because I don't want this to be my peak. I want to be so much better than this. So it keeps me excited, it keeps me driven, and I'm always working to be better, not just for myself, but for the people around me and for you guys and my family and everything like that. So I think it comes over time and obviously actively fueling your relationship with God. So if you're not doing that, then chances are you may not be pulling away from certain bonds that you should be pulling away from as a Christian. Okay, next question. What motivates you to keep pushing yourself even when you feel like quitting? Like, generally speaking, I don't really have much motivation anymore, to be honest. Some days I do, but mostly no. And I don't depend on motivation. It's great when I have it, but I'm so disciplined enough that I have a routine. I know I need to get things done and I do it anyway. So I think discipline overrides everything. And I know that most people agree. You hear a lot of people speak on social media, like fitness creators, that just the discipline overrides everything. And it is 100% true, because if you treat it as if you have to treat, going to work, then you're just going to get it done even when you don't want to, even when you're tired. It might not be your absolute best work, but you have goals, you need to get it done, so just do it, and that's that. This is another question. So this person said, will you ever compete? I compete as a powerlifter, so I'm going to Worlds this month, and I'm competing on an athlete on Team Canada, so I'm excited for that. Honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to be competing. I'm really close to my weight cutoff, and it is what it is, because I'm having like hormonal problems that are fluctuating my weight, which I'm not in control of right now. So whatever happens, happens, whatever. But anyway, so I compete as a powerlifter. I will continue to do that for a while. Bodybuilding, no. I used to want to like crazy. I think I'd have an insane physique, and just like the potential I have is completely there. The discipline I have, I know I would do amazing, and I know that I would win a lot, just because I know myself as an athlete and I'm very competitive, so I want to win, and I know I would. But ego aside, I think it does a lot more harm than good. I think it's all about, like, personally, now thinking back at it, I think I would have done it out of attention, and yes, it's like partly like I want to win, I want to work hard, like that stuff too, but I think it's a lot about attention and self-validation. And you're working your butt off to be lean and to bring the best physique possible to stage, and what do? You go on stage for what, like 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, and the judges are just deteriorating everything you just did, and they're just like breaking you apart and pointing out all your weaknesses, everything that you need to work on, and you worked your hardest to go up there with your best self. And even if your best self isn't good enough, like, I just don't like the whole thing behind it. And then you also like develop an eating disorder and then isolation, and I don't like that stuff. And that's something I want to talk about in another video as well, like bodybuilding versus powerlifting, why I do powerlifting and not bodybuilding, why my perspective changed, everything like that. That's just like a little bit of a snippet, but yeah, not bodybuilding. Some part of me still wants to do it so badly, but I'm like, no, I can't. Especially now as a Christian, I cannot. Bro, how's your skin so glowing and clean? I do not have a face or skin routine, nothing like that. Genetically, I just have good skin. I'm very blessed for that. Very thankful. But yeah, I honestly have no routine at all whatsoever. I shower and that's it. I lotion every single day though, so I do that. I'm changing my lotion now because the lotion I use is apparently very flammable, and like you light it up and it pretty much blows up. So something just doesn't line up with me. I don't think that is a great thing to be putting on your skin, and it's baby lotion, so it's not a great thing to be putting on babies either. So yeah, something is just like very off there, and I'll be switching that up, but I lotion every single day. What's your favorite muscle group to train? I love training lower body. I would say more quads and glutes, just because I like the burn. I like training upper body because I think I look like jacked and like my veins and like I look big, but it's like, I feel like working lower body is a lot harder and you have to push a lot more, and it's like also cardio, and I love everything about it. I love feeling like I am dead at the end of my workout. But yeah, lower body. What is your biggest life goal? This has also changed like crazy as I become closer to God. So literally up to a couple months ago, I wanted to be rich. I wanted to be I did grow up not having the most amount of food, but that's okay. So I grew up not wanting to like be scared that I couldn't afford groceries, or like always wanting to give food to my kids every single day, having good home food, like cooked meals, be rich, like have a house, travel when I wanted, do this, do that, like just nonstop. List goes on with what I wanted. Now I've shifted completely, and literally all I want is a nice home. Doesn't have to be huge. It could be like decent sized. It has like, I do want it to be nice still. I want a yard with a garden, maybe like some chickens. I want to be able to have natural foods, like, you know, go fishing and pick berries in the summer and then freeze it for the winter. I want a good partner, and I want God to be the center of our marriage. And then I want kids, like lots of kids. I want a dog, and just that is pretty much it. And then obviously just like the little things, like I want to go camping and go out in nature and do all this fun stuff with like my family. But that is like the most basic life. And I went from wanting like materialistic things, like rich, this, that, and now it's just like I want the basic and I want family, and that's that. I think about it and I get so excited, but I'm so glad that my mind has shifted, because I went from like greedy, not being humble, just wanting more and more and more, never being satisfied, to just wanting the basics. So I'm just really thankful my mindset has shifted in that way. How do you avoid bloating and stomach issues when reaching your protein intake? Personally, I don't really bloat from protein, unless it's like protein bars. That does something interesting to the stomach sometimes. They're not all bad, but a lot of the time I get like super gassy from protein bars. But I don't really get bloated when it comes to eating, unless it's something completely different, or maybe some sort of artificial sugars, or if I'm drinking right around eating, so like the liquid, like the water just, you know, expands the food in my stomach and I bloat. So you can avoid drinking around your meals, but I don't really bloat when it comes to eating my protein, like unless it's something I'm not used to, or if it's like lactose, like yogurt bloats me, but I get lactose free, so it's fine. Figure out foods that your body does react to properly. You don't get anything, like no weird reaction. Things that make you feel good. Have like 5 meals that, you know, your body actually likes and that is like body friendly, and then just stick to that. And if you realize something messes up your stomach or makes you bloat, then just avoid it. And last question, favorite brand of creatine? And mine is Ghost. Yeah, it is so good, and they have the plain one. I don't like it. I think it's actually gross. It doesn't even taste like nothing. It just like has like a gross taste, so don't get that one. I don't recommend that one. This one, I've been getting it for a while. It is the sour watermelon flavor Warheads. I don't like artificial watermelon flavor, but this is really, really good. I put it in my greens, just like this. Kid you not, tastes like juice. You guys have heard me say it before. I get so excited to drink it every morning. And I made my dad sip it once, and he was just like, I want more. And I was like, Dad, there's creatine. You don't even work out. He's like, can you please make me one? But it's just so good. And it's like the only flavor I've tried other than the plain one, and it's gross. By the way, it's called Size, not creatine, on the website. And I am trying the mango one. It's coming in soon. I don't know if it's sour mango or just mango, but I'm really excited. Apparently it's so good. But yeah, I'm gonna try that one. So if you want to get some Ghost creatine, you can use my code JOLLY to save 20% off. And it supports me a lot, and I just love you guys. But also, if you want to shop Gymshark, you can use my code JOLLY to save 10% off there. Joli. But yeah, go get yourself some creatine and some Gymshark, guys. Pretty much all. I don't even think that was 10 questions, but I feel like I was talking so much and it was getting too long, so I'm just cutting it there. Thank you guys for watching. This was something a little different. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow my Instagram to put my username right here. And if you guys ever have any questions about, you know, my whole religious beliefs now, you could always DM me on Instagram. That's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching so much, and I'll see you guys next time.